So if you look in the background, you can see all the skeletons here. And so these were all skeletons out here where the fire went through 2 years ago. So we have a disc mulcher to mulch these trees, and part of the NRCS program of woody debris removal. We believe it's the best way to do this because you put all the carbon back on the ground, keeps the erosion, puts everything back down here versus land clearing with a bulldozer, and you have lots of disturbance. So very little disturbance on the ground where we mulched. Huge tree was right here, and if you look on the ground now, we've got some grass coming, some weed pressure, coarse, but we're way far better than having bare soil here exposed. So this particular farm, a rented farm I have, cedar trees is almost like a forest. There's places across the creek down through here you couldn't even drive and cattle couldn't go. So as the fire came, killed them, but then once again the cattle couldn't get in there and the grass had died out because of all the canopy and shade. So now we're starting to recover, and we'll get this back to where it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, hopefully. Most of these big trees, there was not hardly any grass underneath due to the acidity of the soil from the needles of the cedars falling off normally. But very little damage, and you can see a few of these little spots with brown grass poking up where there's some cheat come up. That's where we done some disturbance from the tracks and the wheels sliding around. But if you look overall though, the grass is very undisturbed compared to if you had a bulldozer here or a chain and a bulldozer. There's lots of disturbance. All that's good, and it will eventually heal, but this will heal a lot quicker. Plus you're putting the carbon source back where it came from versus pushing it off in a creek. Carbon is the key to water infiltration and building soil back. So if you put that back here when we get a rain, it's going to be very porous right here. So we'll get a lot of water infiltration, and the seed bank will come back. It's just going to take you a year or two longer. We're in a drought right now. That makes it harder too. The cost for it, the machine itself, is the attachment's like $23,000 plus a skid steer. The great thing about the NRCS program of woody debris removal, they pay so much an acre depending on the density of the debris. So it was something that we could do with the assistance of NRCS that it was very minimal to us. And we believe that's well worth the benefit. We had a lot of people that didn't get signed up. We had 2 sign-ups here in Dewey County after the fire, one shortly thereafter. Very few people got in that one because they're in survival mode. I mean, half the county burned. I myself had 23 miles of fence laying on the ground. So it's hard to be thinking months ahead when you're in survival mode. So Gary O'Neill, our state conservationist, decided to have another sign-up months later. We did, and was very successful. I forget now how many he got back in that. But then there were still producers, when I went and started mulching, was asking me, you know, what are you doing? And I explained, well, we want to sign up. Well, it's done too late then. And so, you know, we missed some, and now I've got some neighbors that's wanting me to mulch theirs when I get done, but I've got so much to do, it's going to be a while. Slow process. How did we sign up? It's through an EQIP program. So they come out, assess the thickness of the canopy, the thickness of the skeletons, determine cost ratios according to the density, and It was pretty easy as a ranking process, and then we got in and they were approved. So pretty easy. I like the EQIP program. It's been a very good program for NRCS and very good for us producers. If I was buying this farm and I was a young beginning farmer, rancher, I would want to get rid of them skeletons the best way I could. In the past, people thought about, cutting, stacking, burning, bulldozing. All that's a good practice, don't get me wrong, but you do lots of disturbance, plus when you're burning, you're getting rid of the carbon. So it's very key to think about mulching and doing something for the long run instead of the short come, because too many times as producers, we want to get it done and get it done quick. And we don't really care about the amount of surface disturbance we do. I believe that the less disturbance we do, the better in the long run. We've been about 90 days with 3 inches of rain here on this farm, and if you'll notice, the grass is browning some now, but we still have green grass. And I believe that's partly because of what we've done here with the mulching process.